Hey, this is Jim Sakalis coming at you live with the Real Estate Expert Online. Today's segment, I'm going to talk about prospecting expireds. So for all you real estate agents out there trying to generate more income for yourself and more listings, tune in. But before I get started, please subscribe to my channel. Love to get you connected to all upcoming training events that we have available, as well as videos. Also, be sure to click on the bell down below so you can get notified as soon as a new video is lock and loaded. And don't forget to make comments down below. Love to interact with you and talk to you further, as well as answer any questions that you may have on each and any segment that I put out. So thanks again for having me and joining me today. So let's get started about prospecting expireds. So the first thing you should be able to do is get access to your multiple listing service and find out what the most recent expired list is. And then from there, you can gather that information and call on expireds list. Now, I'm not a big fan of expireds because there's so many expireds out there that have been bombarded with calls from other agents, as well as not having their information on the listing, so you can't even get a hold of them. However, there are some other software programs out there, and I'd love to share those with you if you're interested. I can give you a link. If you mention down below, I can send you a link to how to put in this information through a software program, and it will actually pull up a search and locate the property owner's phone number as well as their email 90%, 90% of the time. So that's awesome. So here's the first thing you do. Once you get on the phone with the for sale by owner, I'm going to tell you how this is going to play out. Now, like I said, it's very difficult to even get somebody on the phone because they're just blocking every call. So I'm going to give you a little dialogue of usually what plays out. Now, so here we go. Ring, ring, and the seller answers. The seller's going to say hello, and then you're going to introduce yourself. Hey, this is Jim with ABC Realty, and I'm calling about your property. Now, they're going to come back with a few different responses. One, they're just going to hang up on you, click, and then you just go to the next one. Or two, they're going to say, what are you calling me for? And then you're going to interact and say, well, I was calling about the property. I noticed it recently expired. Are you still wanting to sell it? So then they're going to respond back, no, it's off the market. You want to make sure that you get them to say they're still interested in selling the property. Now, it may take some time, and you might have some objections that you will have to handle as well. One objection is, well, why didn't you call me when it was listed? Or, I got too many other people calling me, or I'm too busy, yada, 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 right? So the one question is, that they usually ask is, why didn't you call me when it was listed? And then you say, hey, I understand. I pride myself in working the listings that I have first and foremost because the sellers have committed to me. And since my inventory has run in low, I'm reaching out to expired listings now so I can build up my inventory so I can sell more properties. So that's a good lead-in for that objection. Another question that you might want to ask them, well, hey, while I have you on the phone, did you have any offers during the time that it was listed? And then they're going to come back and say, yes, we may have had a few, but they were low ball, or no, we didn't have any. Some of the feedback I get from sellers is they'll say, yeah, the agent never showed it one time, and we had it listed on the market for 6 months. And then you come back and you say, yes, I was noticing, Mr. Seller, that it had been listed for over 6 months, and I'm just kind of wondering why it didn't sell. Did your agent, do open houses, or did your agent ever show the property? And you want to keep probing and probing and probing. You know, another question that the seller will have is, well, you know, why are you calling me? You know, and I don't want to list the property. And the way to diffuse that is say, no, I wasn't calling you for that. Oh, well, what are you calling me for? Well, I noticed the property, you know, had fallen off the market, and I wanted to see if you were still interested in selling. And if they say yes, well, great. Now, I'd love to come by and take a look at it for some prospective buyers that I'm working with in the area. So you want to let them know that you're not interested in listing the property at this point. So you want to take that defense mechanism off the table, because everybody else that's calling them has told them, well, I want to list the property, or, you know, they've bombarded them to death. So you kind of defuse it and say, no, that isn't the reason why I called. Oh, well, what is the reason? And then you tell them, well, I'm considering your property. Well, what are you considering my property for? Well, I have some other prospective buyers in the area, and this falls into their price range. So I was reaching out to see if this something might be something that would be fit for them. And then you go on to say, hey, if you don't mind, maybe I could come by, take a look at the property, and see if this is something that would be suitable for my buyer. Fair enough? So you're kind of giving them a fair trade. And then if they're reluctant, no, I'm not interested, and you know, they just kind of give you some more negatives. So then you say, well, what was the reason in the first place for you wanting to sell, Mr. Seller? And then you want to get them to open up. So pretty soon they're getting a little less defensive, and the air out of the balloon is going out. It's exhaling, exhaling, and then you're able to start building a little rapport with those people. So they'll say, well, you know, I had a job transfer to Texas, and well, is that job transfer still on the table? And then they'll come back, say, well, yeah, it is, but I kind of, you know, now that we didn't sell it, you know, we're trying to figure out what we want to do. Oh, I can understand that. So you want to just kind of be subtle with them, care. You know, people don't care what you know until you show them you care. So, well, I hate to see you cancel your plans on your relocation. You know, what if I do this for you? Okay, no obligation to you. I'll come out, take a look at the property, I'll assess the situation, and if nothing else, I'll figure out the reason why it didn't sell last time. Fair enough? And then you're going to get a yes. Most of the time, if they're serious about selling the property still, you're going to get a yes out of them. And then you go ahead and set up the appointment. So, okay, Mr. Seller, that's great. Now, what time works best for you? I have tomorrow available between 5 or 6, or would 7 be better? And then get them to commit to a time. Okay, great. Well, I have all your information, and I look forward to seeing you then. And then that's it. Click, you hang up, and you go on to the next one. Okay, so that's how you prospect for expireds. You want to first get them on the phone. That's going to be the most challenging part. 2, you want to confirm they are still interested in selling their home. 3, diffuse the fact of listing the property. That isn't the reason why I called, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, okay? I'm just assessing properties for consideration for buyers that I have in mind. And 4, if they come back with some objections, one of which, well, it was on the market, you know, 6 months. Why didn't you call me then? Well, then your response back is, I was focusing on my listings. As a professional realtor, I focus on selling my listings first before I sell other realtors' listings. That's a great one. I love it. I use it all the time when I was a real estate broker. And then 5, you want to offer them a fair trade. You're going to offer them an assessment, and if nothing else, you're going to find out what the problem was and what you can do should they decide to relist the property, and how you can get some success out of the deal. You know, and so when you go out to the appointment, you're going to go out there and you're going to look over everything, and you're going to point out a lot of things. And obviously, you got to blame it on the other realtor because the seller is. So, you don't want to bash your industry, so I'm not telling you that. But the way that you approach it could be professional, which you want it to be. So when you go out there, you're going to say, did they ever conduct an open house? And ask if they said yes or no. If they did, what was the results of that open house? If they didn't, then you write it down a little notepad. And then you say, did they ever go over their marketing plan? And they'll say, well, what's that? You mean they didn't have a marketing plan? And then that's another lead in. So you're trying to find problems with the other realtor and why the property didn't sell. Another thing is, did they go over showcasing your home? Oh, well, what's that? Oh, they didn't tell you about that? You see, now you just threw another thought in their head of thinking maybe this other realtor wasn't quite qualified for the job. Why is this realtor pointing out all these things that our other realtor didn't even mention when he or she took the listing? So those are good pointers that you could go out and prospect, meet and greet with the seller, and then point out some obvious things. The bottom line is, between you and me, it's usually always the price, right? So, they probably had it priced too high, but you don't ever want to tell them that up front, okay? So there's another way to approach it, and I can share that with you as well in this segment. And basically, you're going to go over the comps with them again, and then you're going to show them, all the recent properties as well as the property's conditions. And another good thing to do when you're taking a listing, if you're having some challenges with the seller being reluctant to price it the way that you feel that you can sell it, then you tell them, let's do this. Let's take a tour of some other properties that are on the market today. And hopefully there are some other properties in the area, so you can use this as leverage. Let's go out and take a look at these other properties that are comparable to yours in the area. We'll set up times to go through the property like a prospective buyer, and then we can see your competition. We'll go through each of the properties. We'll see what the listing is, what price range it is, and what the properties offer. Fair enough? And they'll say yes. I mean, why wouldn't they? If you're serious about selling your house, let's find out what your competition is, and then we can assess where this property price range should be at so we can have success. Fair enough? So I hope that helps for all you struggling agents out there trying to get more listings for yourself. Now, again, I'm not a big fan of these expireds. They're hard to do, not impossible. So I don't want to, defuse you from doing them. A lot of real estate agents don't do them any longer. And the biggest reason is because they can't get in contact with the seller. So if you want more information about how to obtain information and contact information from the seller, be sure to message me down below. I'll be more than happy to share that with you for free. And it's a software that you can go into, and it will pull all your expired listings into this portal. And then within 24 to 48 hours, you'll get a list of the seller's phone numbers and most of the time their emails as well. So thanks again for stopping by. Again, don't forget to subscribe, click my like button, and I'll see you real soon. Make it a great day, folks.